everybody, Tyrone the God 3 here, and today we're going to be talking about Ultimate Gohan. Ultimate Gohan, what is it? And the reason I say this is because there's a lot of people, new and old, who just need a clarification of what Ultimate Gohan is. This was the form that was used most recently in episode 88 of Dragon Ball Super, and will also be a key point in episode 90 of Dragon Ball Super as well. It's a form that Gohan took during episode 262 of the anime and chapter 496 in the manga. And a lot of people need clarification as to exactly what this form is, how it differs, or why this is even a form to begin with. Well, time to give some clarification. Now, a lot of people have given it fan names like the Final Warrior Gohan, or Elder Kai Unlocked Potential Gohan, or even the most famous fan term, Mystic Gohan, which you can take that one with a grain of salt. But essentially, what this form is a ritual done by Elder Kai on Gohan that makes Gohan's deep-rooted potentials within his body unleashed to their absolute maximum. As quoted by Elder Kai in the anime, he states that he can turn a bird into an eagle, or he can make a kitty cat roar as if it were a lion. Basically, he can bring something to its fullest. Whatever you are, he can bring out the best. Basically, you at your prime. Essentially, we as humans are pretty strong, but we're still not strong enough to do superhumanly like things. However, Elder Kai has the ability to take your average 25-year-old human being and make him the strongest human being on the planet. Essentially, is what what Elder Kai can do. And what that did essentially was make Gohan unleash the maximum potential of his strength, literally giving him the term Unlocked Potential Gohan. But wait, some people are probably asking, well, Gohan got his potential unlocked before with Guru and Well, the thing about that is that Gohan was a child when that happened. Gohan got his potential unlocked, but it was only that deep-rooted potential that he was slowly bursting out as he fought. And then again, this happened the second time when he got older and finally became a Super Saiyan and was able to use even more hidden potential that was in Gohan's body to make him transform into Super Saiyan 2, which was the climax of his unlocked potential, the pinnacle of himself, if you will. After that, Gohan stopped training for quite a bit and lost some power because of this lack of training to hone his skills even further. Otherwise, potentially Gohan could be way stronger, but he wasn't. If anything, this form is a what-if scenario of if Gohan had kept his training up. It basically brought his entire power back up to speed. So how is this different than Gohan's normal state? Some of you all might be asking. And the reason you might be asking that is that out of all of the transformations that appear in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super, this one's definitely the most lackluster. And only the sharp-eyed can catch whether or not this is a form change or just a simple, the character has gotten more powerful. And to be honest, it's a little bit of both. You see, what has happened essentially is that Gohan has taken his deep-rooted energy and raised it up to a level that's so high that a transformation like Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan 2 becomes basically irrelevant. His base form is essentially the new power-up stage of Super Saiyans 1 and 2. At least that's what we thought until Dragon Ball Super came around. You see, unlike in Dragon Ball Super, the only sources of media that we got to see this form be treated as a transformation was in Budokai 3, Infinite World, and the Shin Budokai games on the PSP. Up till that episode of Dragon Ball Super, episode 88, we didn't know that Gohan can transform into this form. It was always essentially this base form that Gohan has is now an alternate form that he permanently can use to serve as something that's much stronger. Thus, much like Goku with the Kaioken, making it obsolete in favor of Super Saiyan and all of its transformations afterwards. This form essentially became the new Super Saiyan for Gohan, making the Super Saiyans 1 and 2 obsolete, as though they are strong and give him a power boost, they just weren't necessary anymore. A lot of people even believe that Gohan can transform into Super Saiyans 1 and 2 after already achieving this form, and he was essentially just holding back when he fought against Majin Buu, which is probably what I should explain too. The reason that this form exists in the first place is because Majin Buu had essentially reached a super form that made him damn near invincible to basically every fighter except for like Gotenks, and Gotenks' fusion had worn off at this point. So Gohan was powered up and he was able to wipe the floor with Super Buu, one-shotting him almost instantly, blocking all of his moves, not being hit whatsoever, and then giving Super Buu a run for his money, making Gohan effectively the most strongest non-fused character within the course of the series, at least for Dragon Ball Z standards. It's also important to note that, yes, I do mean with the inclusion of Goku transforming Super Saiyan 3. It's even confirmed that Gohan in this form is stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Now, does that mean that Gohan can beat Goku in a fight because of this? Probably not. I mean, Gohan in this form is strong and all, but his lack of martial arts knowledge compared to Goku is essentially what'll have Goku win that fight overall, but that's a debate topic for another day. But essentially, Gohan was the strongest, at least until Majin Buu had thought up the idea to absorb Gotenks and Piccolo, and even after he absorbed Gotenks, he was still on par with Gohan, and the two were basically tied. What really won Buu the battle was the fact that he had Piccolo's power and Piccolo's wits in addition to the power that was provided with Gotenks. Thus, he was able to outsmart Gohan and basically wear Gohan out with various techniques. That's essentially what ended up happening. Also, we could note that the cockiness that Gohan displayed during that fight got in the way as well, which is exactly what Piccolo explained in episode 88. This form essentially takes the already normal stated form and makes it so powerful that it is essentially stronger than all the others. However, like we said, recently, up until now, Gohan can transform into it, meaning that it is a separate form, and that's okay, because a lot of people have always tried to wonder what's the difference between Gohan in Ultimate form and his normal state form. Well, the differences are small, but much like Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan 1, there are differences. Well, as you can see, with the differences being that when Gohan's at normal state, his eyes are a bit curvier, as if to show that there's less strain on his body, there's less strain and sternness in his body, and he's not, as serious because he's not exerting so much power this time. He's, just relaxed. Even his hair looks more relaxed and it's a little bit shorter. While he's in Ultimate form, it's clear that the bang on his hair is a lot pointier and straighter, and the hairs that stick up are a lot pointier as well. And the eyes have become more slanty and aggressive, just to show that there's more power exerting from his body. Now, there have been situations, obviously, where Gohan hasn't had the bang in front of him, much like in the recent episode of Dragon Ball Super, but that's mostly to show off the fact that Akira Toriyama just doesn't know whether to draw a bang on Gohan's head or not. Essentially, this form is the strongest non-fusion form in Dragon Ball Z, at least until Super Saiyan God comes into the picture and, changes everything. And even still, Gohan has the potential to get much stronger even after obtaining this ultimate form. Apparently, even though he's reached his maximum potential, he can essentially get stronger. Yeah, I don't know how either. A lot of fans have theorized what Gohan had become even after he long stopped using the transformation. And yeah, that's also another thing. A lot of people have even been confused about when Gohan uses this form. Well, Gohan's used this form on far more than just the occasion with Super Buu. Gohan used this form again in Dragon Ball Z movie Wrath of the Dragon. He used it again in Battle of Gods. And a lot of people thought that this was a big controversial statement, especially considering watching the Battle of Gods saga where Gohan didn't use the form. But in the movie, rest assured, he use the form. It's actually funny to note that in the original trailer and the scan pictures, Gohan went Super Saiyan in order to fight Beerus. But then I guess Akira Toriyama remembered, oh yeah, Gohan can turn Ultimate. So he decided to use that instead. So he instantly got changed into his Ultimate form. It was almost like a last minute color swap decision. And a lot of people even think that this is controversial, considering the fact that if Gohan couldn't use the Ultimate form for all of the other sagas, why can he use it against Beerus? Well, it is possible that he just lost the form after the Battle of Gods stuff, considering the fact that Battle of Gods only takes place a few months after the Majin Buu crisis, thus justifying the reason why Gohan was able to transform into Ultimate during that movie, but not able to do it during Resurrection F. It is confirmed in Dragon Ball that if you do not fight long enough, your abilities will get weakened sufficiently, almost to the point where you're just not able to really utilize many transformations anymore. As evidence, Master Roshi asked Gohan, hey, are you still able to transform Super Saiyan because you've lacked in your training so long? And Gohan's like, I don't know. So it is confirmed that fighters can get weak enough to the point where they lose transformations, and that's essentially what happened here, which is why in the recent episode of Dragon Ball Super, Gohan was able to bring that form back. A lot of fans have theorized that this form is basically a form that Goku takes as well as Vegeta after they receive the training from Whis, and essentially that Gohan had God Ki. Another way to support this theory is the fact that Goku had a hard time sensing Gohan's Ki energy when he went to go find where Gohan was after the whole Majin Buu threat, where he found out that Gohan was on the Supreme Kai planet. But Majin Buu could sense him the whole time, so I guess that throws that theory out the window. Also, it's most important to know that Goku and Vegeta at their base forms are much stronger when fighting Frieza than they would have been in normal circumstances, and they're exerting the same type of white aura that Gohan exerts when he uses his ultimate form, which is why a lot of fans thought that these were similar in transformation, but I assure you they're not. So, what's the deal? Why doesn't Gohan need Super Saiyans 1 or 2 anymore? Well, essentially, what has happened, and this is my theory, Gohan is half Saiyan and half human, right? Well, what Elder Kai has done is basically take the human half of Gohan, which is where his emotions lie, the root of which Gohan's power is exerted from, and essentially brought those up to max. He thought that there was no point in bringing his Saiyan powers up to max, because Saiyan power, bringing it to max, would have its limits, whereas Gohan's emotional power, which is where he got most of his power from, which is shown in a lot of his tantrums throughout Dragon Ball Z when he was a kid, was the root of where Gohan got the most out of his power. So essentially his human's emotions were what was giving him most of his power, whereas the Saiyan half of him was basically giving him the structure. So the Saiyan half of him gave him the body to be the warrior, while the emotions that he could only have as a earthling, as a human, were the thing that provided him with the power in order to become strong enough to topple fighters much stronger than himself for short bursts of times. But thanks to Elder Kai, he brought all of that out. So that means that if he had did the same thing to, like, say, Goku or Vegeta, then Goku and Vegeta would still probably need to transform. They would just be, really powerful versions of Super Saiyan 1 or 2 or even 3. Whereas Gohan essentially didn't need those transformations anymore because his Earthling half was where he was getting the raw source of his power. A lot of people have even made a professional chart to kind of show the basis of how this goes and how it can topple other forms much like itself. But with that all said, I hope I gave you all a lot of information about the Ultimate Gohan form. I had a lot of fun making this video and talking with you all. And with that said, I'll see you all then, everybody. Tyrone the God 3 out.